You know that feeling. You're just scrolling, and it feels like you're drowning in information. Well, today, we're going to learn how to swim. So let's just dive right in.
I mean, does any of this sound familiar? Yeah, this is the internet, right? It's just this chaotic mix of crazy headlines, total clickbait, and all these bold claims just fighting for your attention. And you know what? It's designed to feel overwhelming. That's exactly what we're here to tackle today.
Okay, so to help us out, let's introduce someone. We'll call her Maria. But really, Maria is, well, she's all of us, isn't she? Just scrolling through a social media feed, trying to make some sense of the world from this complete jumble of posts. It's a daily challenge for sure.
And this really gets to the heart of the problem, doesn't it? Anyone, anywhere can find information in a split second. But is any of it actually correct? The internet gives us instant access to everything, but it offers absolutely zero guarantee that what we're reading is true. So, yeah, the big question is, how do we sort the facts from all the fiction?
All right, so to figure that out, we first have to understand why. Why is the internet so flooded with all this questionable content? I promise you, it's not random. There are very specific forces at play here, and we're about to peel back the curtain and see what's really going on.
Okay, so think of the internet in two basic ways. On one side, you have sites with editors, people who are actually responsible for what gets published. They have control. But on the other side, which, let's be honest, is most of the internet, it's a total free-for-all. Anyone can publish anything, and pretty much no one is checking the facts. It's kind of the Wild West.
So why does this happen? Why do people put out all this misleading stuff? Well, it pretty much boils down to a few key reasons. A big one is just making money from those crazy, provocative clicks. You know the ones. Or it's about spreading a specific political viewpoint, or maybe promoting certain religious or economic interests. It all comes down to the motivation behind the content.
And that brings us to a really important word here, biased. What does that even mean? Well, it's when information is distorted, when it's twisted to make one particular viewpoint or one party or one interest just seem like it's the best one. It's not about giving you the straight facts, it's about pushing an angle.
And here's a great example of how this works, because bias isn't always, evil or malicious. Think about it. Someone might really care about the environment and animals, right? And so they claim that a certain diet is healthier. Their intention is good, but the information they're sharing might still be wrong or incomplete. It's such a powerful reminder to stay critical, even when you really agree with the message.
Okay, so we get the problem. Now what? How do we actually fight back? The good news is we don't have to just be passive scrollers, victims of our own feeds. We can become active digital detectives. And it all starts by just asking the right questions. So, question number one, always, is who is behind this? Who actually made this? Is it an authority, like a university? Is it a company trying to sell you something? Or is it just some random person? Figuring out the who immediately gives you some crucial context. Next up, you've got to ask why. Why was this source even created? What's its goal? Is it here to inform you, to convince you of something, to sell you a product, or maybe just to entertain you? Knowing the why is absolutely key.
And the last big question is, well, is this source even trustworthy? Can you trust it? A good way to check is to see if they cite their own sources. Do they show their work? And maybe most importantly, can you find other sources out there that say the same thing? Or does everyone else say something completely different?
Okay, so those questions give us a great framework. Now let's get super practical. Let's turn this into an actual checklist, a digital detective kit you can use on pretty much any website you come across.
It's a really simple three-step process. First, you're going to check the web page vitals. Second, you're going to look for the date. And third, you're going to compare it with other sources. So let's break down exactly what that means. All right, step one, check the vitals. This is basic stuff. Look for a Contact Us page or an About section. If you can't find any way to contact the owner or figure out who's behind the site, that's a huge red flag. Seriously, legitimate sources aren't afraid to tell you who they are. Anonymous ones, they've probably got something to hide. Step two, look at how recently the page was updated. You're looking for signs of life, Is this information from last week or is it from like a decade ago? Try clicking a few links. Do they still work? If you find a bunch of broken links, it's a good sign that the site's been abandoned and it's probably not a very reliable place to get your info. And finally, step three. This might be the most important one. Compare what you're reading with other sources. You have to be careful here though. Make sure that all your sources aren't just getting their information from the same single place.
That's how you get stuck in an echo chamber, where everyone is just repeating the same unverified rumor over and over. So, when you start doing this, when you put all these pieces together, something really cool starts to happen. You stop being just a passive scroller, and you become an active, critical thinker. These aren't just little tricks. Honestly, they're like digital superpowers.
Because once you know how to use it with a critical eye, the internet completely transforms. It's no longer this overwhelming source of confusion and, frankly, anxiety. It becomes what it was always supposed to be. This fantastic tool for finding real answers, for digging deeper into things you're curious about, and for finding totally new perspectives.
So just like Maria, we don't need to be afraid of this huge digital ocean. We just need to learn how to surf the waves. And now, armed with our new detective kit, we're pretty much ready for anything. So surf on. You know, at the end of the day, the internet gives us all the tools we need to do this stuff. They're right there at our fingertips. The real question isn't whether the tools exist, it's, are we willing to actually use them?